Hello everyone, this is Christos Gazanis on GodRadio.gr, your Greek Christian radio station, and today we have another interview with a very special praise and worship artist. He's a worship leader, a songwriter, a composer and a singer of great songs. Apart from his own albums, his name is present in many great productions with many great names and artists like Don Moen, Ron Kenoly, Paul Baloche, and many others. His personal story and testimony has impacted many lives all around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, friends of GodRadio.gr, Mr. Lenny LeBlanc. Lenny, thank you so much for your precious time and thank you for being with us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Praise the Lord. You are in Florence, USA?
Florence, Alabama.
That's wonderful. And we are in Greece. Actually, I'm in Cyprus, but this show will be in Greece. And Greek people love Lenny LeBlanc.
Well, I'd like to hopefully come to Greece one day. That would be awesome.
Oh, you are welcome. We will talk about that in a few minutes. And I was talking to a friend of yours about it actually a few days ago. I'll tell you about it too. But I would like to start this session with a few questions. And sorry for starting in a deep level right from the start.
That's okay.
But I really would like to know more about your relationship with the Lord. You have a great, if I can say, unique testimony. And as I have said, you have touched many people around the world because you were actually you were a secular artist back in the 70s. And you were on the top 40 charts. That's a big thing. And all of a sudden you met the Lord and He changed your life. And would you like to share some of these wonderful things that the Lord has done in you, your experience with the Lord?
Sure. I started playing music at the age of 15, and it was really by accident. I went to a friend's house after school, and his brother, younger brother, and several of his friends were playing guitars in the living room. And they were all too shy to sing, and they looked at my friend and I, and they said, "Why don't you come over here and try to sing with us?" And my friend was really shy, and I was sort of, a daredevil, you might say. I would just try things, and so I said, "Okay, I'll try it." So I went over and I picked up the sheet music and I started singing, and they looked at me really strange, and they said, "Wow, you sound really good." And I said, "Really?" And they said, "Yeah, let's put a band together and go in the talent show." And so I said, "You think I've got talent?" And they said, "Yeah, we think you're really good." And so I said, "Okay." And I had no idea what I was getting myself into because there was about 300 people in that junior high school cafeteria. They were all staring at me, and I was petrified. I wouldn't even look at the audience. I had my back to the audience and my hands in my pockets, and I was singing to the band. And oddly enough, we won the talent show. And they said, "Oh, you need to get a bass." And I thought, what is a bass? It's the one with 4 strings. And so we started a band, started playing little parties. And before I knew it, after 2 years, I was making a living playing music in the nightclubs. And I fell in love with playing and singing. It became really the thing that I worshiped. It was the number one thing in my life. And I thought, if I'm going to do this, I need to move to a place where they make recordings. Because I wanted to be a recording artist. I wanted to be on television. I wanted to have fame and fortune. And so I moved to Muscle Shoals, Alabama, which is just 5 miles from where I live here in Florence, because it was a very big recording center in the 60s, 70s, and even still today. Many artists, the Rolling Stones would come here and record, and Bob Seger, Aretha Franklin, and the list goes on. And so I became part of that whole recording scene as a bass player. And then people in the city found out I could sing. So I started singing background vocals on a lot of the big records. And then I started writing, began meeting songwriters because that was my passion. I wanted to write my own songs. I wanted to make records myself. I didn't want to just play on other people's records. And so I wrote a few songs, and then we sent a tape to the founder of Atlantic Records, Jerry Wexler, one of the godfathers of the music industry. And 3 weeks later, I had my own record deal as a solo artist.
Wow, that was fast.
Yeah, that was fast, you know. But it did for me, and so I did a solo record, and it did pretty good. And then my friend Pete Carr, who was the famous guitar player on a lot of those big recordings, he was a famous guitar player and was doing instrumental records on Atlantic. And we were buddies, and we were writing songs. They said, why don't you team up for this one LP, call it LeBlanc and Carr. His name was Carr, my name is LeBlanc.
Mm-hmm.
LeBlanc and Carr. We had a big hit called Falling on that record.
It's still on YouTube. I checked it, and it's still on there.
Yeah, that went around the world, you know, and to this day, it's one of the Billboard's all-time top 40 records. And so, you know, with that kind of hit, you get to do a lot of things. We were touring with all the big, huge groups across America, and we did all the television shows. Everything was going great. And then we broke up as a duo, and I became a solo artist again and switched labels and went to Capitol. Did one record for Capitol. Had a couple singles that did pretty good. And then I had a friend of mine that called me, and he was a drug smuggler. He had been to Vietnam, came back, got into smuggling drugs, and he was really heavily into it. They had boats and planes. He wasn't just a drug dealer, he was a drug smuggler. Big difference. And so he said, Lenny, I got saved, and I'm going to heaven, and I want you to be there with me.
Wow.
Are you saved? And I really didn't, you know, I thought, man, just when things are going good, forgot. I had left my family, a young daughter and wife, 6 years before. I was eaten up with myself. Just everything revolved around me. I was very selfish. Even though I was well respected in the community as a musician, I was just, you know, my music was my God, and everything revolved around me and what I wanted. Nothing would get in the way. And he sent me a Bible. And I didn't even know what saved even meant. I was ignorant of anything spiritual. And Christos, and it started coming alive to me. I started seeing myself like as the rich young ruler. You know, I started seeing some of me in him. I started seeing myself to a certain extent in the woman at the well who had many relationships, and I had many relationships. So I thought if I could find the right person to share all this success with, then my life would be fulfilled, and it never happened. And I just began to see how bankrupt my life was, and how empty I was, and how void of anything spiritual, anything lasting, anything eternal in my life. There was nothing there. You know, and God just began to break my heart, and He just began to pour His love out of me. And one of my favorite scriptures is this: kindness leads us to repentance. I wasn't getting judgment from the Bible. I was getting kindness. I was getting the love of God just poured out on me.
Amen.
I didn't know any Christians. I was at my home. I didn't know how to pray. I didn't know how to come to God. I didn't even know what to do. And God just led me through the whole process. And I remember I would just cry out to Him for forgiveness. You know, and I was born again. This was probably a month or so that all this kind of transpired in my home. And my friend also sent me a little book, and it was about the end times, and it was a prayer after every chapter that you could ask God to come into your life. And I remember after every chapter, I'd get down on my knees and I'd pray that little prayer because I didn't really know what to do, you know. And God was just so amazing. My friends would come over and they'd say, "What's happened to you?" And I wouldn't even say anything to them. They could just see it in my countenance. Something was different, you know. And as a songwriter, I began writing songs. During this whole time, I was still signed to Capitol Records. I had one record left in my contract to fulfill. So I was trying to write love songs, and it would start out to be a love song, and by the time it got halfway through, it'd be about Jesus. Because that's what was happening in my heart. And it was like, that's what I want to write. I didn't care about writing any love songs. I wanted to write songs about God, this amazing God that changed my life and gave me peace for the first time, you know. And so I had a dilemma, and the record company was not going to want these Jesus songs. I knew that right away. So I had a manager in Los Angeles, and I called him and I asked him, "You think they'd let me out of that record deal?" And he thought I'd lost my mind like most of my friends did, you know, because all my income was tied to that record deal. Because there was a songwriting agreement involved in it, publishing agreement, a record contract. That's where I earned my living. And the concerts and different things in those venues, I knew that they weren't going to want me to sing these kind of songs in those venues. And so I really, and it wasn't, a lot of people think, well, you're a Christian now, you can't sing those kind of songs. That was it for me. I knew that I could have been a pop artist and been a believer. I think we need believers in pop music, and there are many of them in country music and pop music. But I realized for me, I felt God was different. Even though Christian music was very, very small as a genre, it was just kind of in its infancy. And so I said, I really don't have any desire to write that kind of music anymore. I really, really want to write songs about God. So financially, everything went south. Went south, and we lost just about everything. I had started dating my wife right about the time that I got saved, and she got saved along with me, and we got married 8 months later, and we struggled for probably 5-6 years, and drove old junky cars. At one time, I had a bicycle. That was all I had for transportation, and most of the investments. But I had peace. I had that peace that just nobody can give you. Money can't give it to you, fame can't give it to you, and I'm telling you, I just thought, I'm going to struggle all my life financially, but it's okay. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm happy, singing songs about the Lord, and I never dreamed that God would give me the opportunities that He has. I never dreamed it would be that way, that I'd write songs that people would sing around the world, and actually be blessed financially from that, and be able to, have a nice car and have a nice house, and I owe everything to God.
Praise the Lord. As far as I can hear, everything just happened so fast in your life. I mean, with some moves, you were in the center of God's will, but that cost you, right?
Oh, it cost everything to me, but my friends thought, because they knew what music was to me. They knew me very well. They knew that it was the #1 thing in my life. And they couldn't believe why I was walking away from it. But it was such an easy thing to do for me. It wasn't hard. It wasn't, oh, do I do this? Or, gosh, I'm going to lose everything. I didn't even give it a second thought, Christos. It was like the call of God was so real and so strong. There was no way I could have even said no. It was... And I was filled with such joy, even though I knew I was going to lose everything. It didn't matter. It was like I'd been swimming in this dirty water all my life, and someone said, "Hey, here's a crystal clear lake you can swim in. How would you like to swim in this water for a while?" It was like, no thought.
Yeah, that would be actually my second question. If you ever had second thoughts, but you made it clear. But what would you say to some Christian artists that start the opposite way? They start in a Christian background, they start in a church, and they just get, let's say, jealous of what the world gives to the artists. And some leave the Christian, let's say, world, if I can say that, and they get into the secular music just to gain fame, money, and that's everything. You were there, and you just left everything behind for Jesus. Actually,
yes.
It wasn't for a church. You didn't know a church. You knew God saved you,
right?
And what would you say to people like I mentioned, that they leave something that they want fame, they want money, they want to be somebody, but
right.
They leave the one that will make them be somebody, right?
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
I think every situation is different. God might actually call some people into that arena. I mean, that's not unlike God. I mean, He does things, totally different than we do. That's probably a very rare case. Because when you go into that arena and that area of life, there's opposition. Darkness does not like light, and they don't mix really very well.
Yeah.
And so, you really have to. I think the Lord has to be your #1 focus. And when you've got your eyes on Him. And I remember during my walk too. It was during the '90s, the early '90s, I think. I became a little frustrated because my Christian records, they were doing okay, but I saw a lot of the Christian artists doing a lot better, and I felt that my gift was just as good, and I started feeling sorry for myself, and I saw all my buddies around me from secular music. They were all doing great, winning Grammys, getting songs recorded, making a lot of money. And I remember going to the LA airport one time, on the way back from a ministry trip, and I said, God, I could do that. I could do everything they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I know I would be right where they're at right now. And I said, what? And I'm not really doing that much in Christian music. People don't really seems like they appreciate my gift, to a big extent, and I started having a little pity party there in the airport, and afterwards I came to my senses and I said, Lord, if I never make anything, I know you chose me to do this, and I'm sorry for whining and complaining, and I'm happy with whatever. God, I want to be content, And I'm telling you, it wasn't 2 years later, Christos, that a friend of mine was producing a big country band called Sawyer Brown, who'd had many #1 records.
Mm-hmm.
Wrote a song and recorded a song for my wife on my latest Christian record. It was 1994. It was a record called All My Dreams. There was a song on there called Treat Her Right, and then I wrote that for my wife. And my friend heard that song, and he was producing that band, and he gave them a copy of it. They recorded the song, and the song became a #1 country hit all across America.
Uh-huh.
God was like saying, "See what I can do?
Yeah.
When you don't desire those things, I can bless you with those things, and you're not desiring them." Because I pitched the song, I didn't even play the song for my friend. He found it.
Yeah.
I wasn't making an effort, And every song, I've had many songs recorded like that by a secular artist, and I never made any attempt to try to get the songs to them. Someone else heard them, and someone else pitched the song to them. So I just think that your heart has to be focused on God, and He can do way more in a way better way, in a bigger way than you could ever do on your own. He knows your desires. He knows your needs. He knows your desires. He knows the biggest desires of your heart. And I think when He's the main desire of your heart, He will bless you with things that you could never imagine.
Exactly. And he works in perfect ways. Actually, He says, I know the plans that I have for you,
Right.
Plans to prosper you and give you the expected end. So He has plans for us, so we just need to get into these plans and not plan for ourselves.
Right.
Wow, it's really wonderful. But you have written many songs that are so big to the Christian world, like There Is None Like You, We All Bow Down, Above All. I think you wrote that with Paul Baloche.
Right.
And many more. What is the secret of being so successful and humble at the same time?
Well, I think I know my weaknesses. I know my failures as a man. I'm like any other person. I have struggles, and I think just kind of realizing that you're not better than anyone else, even though your songs are around the world, people are singing them. I think you always have to remain grounded, and I think just me seeing my own self, seeing the real me, the me that my wife sees, the one with all the inadequacies and the weaknesses, and I just realized my need for God, and I think when we stop realizing that we need God, I think we were in trouble, and I think that's what keeps me humble. I don't know. I just realize that I'm not all that people think I am. I'm just a regular person struggling like everyone else, battling the same temptations every other person battles, fighting the same battles, whether it be family, health, finances. We're all on a level playing field.
Yeah, man. What would you give us an advice to a new artist that would start his Christian music career today? Are there any do's or don'ts?
You know, I'd say, first of all, serve your church where you're at. Because when you serve your church, your local church, and serve your community, you are worthy for bigger things. If you're faithful in the small things, God bless you with more.
Amen.
And don't necessarily run out there and try to be a rock star, because I mean, the music industry has gone through major transformation in the last 10 years with file sharing, with downloading. The number of sales has gone down probably 60% overall in the whole industry. So it's not much of an industry left to start. Not like it was 10 years ago, you know. So that's a disadvantage right away. It's very difficult for a new artist to break into the music scene, whatever genre you're in. But for people that are in the church, that are Christian musicians, there's no better place than to get trained and to use your gift in the church, because you use your gift and you perfect your gift during that time. You're serving people, you're serving your community, you're serving your church, and you're growing at the same time. You know, you're working with people, you're working with other musicians. It's just the best training ground of all.
Exactly. And if you make a mistake, they will still love you.
So,
that's right. You are a self-taught musician, is that right?
yes.
And you have been so successful in this area too. And through this year, every time you have a new project to present, you always bring something new and refreshing. How can you keep up with this new music and be a self-taught musician? But you still write songs that stick. I mean, if I hear a song by Lenny LeBlanc, I know that I will be singing it for the rest of the day. It just stays there. How can you do that?
I don't know. I think in my early years here in Muscle Shoals, I was around songwriters, and they had a particular focus on melodies. You know, and I've always been a melody person. I've always heard melodies in my head and found chords that fit around them. You know, and I surround myself with young people. All the people on my worship team are a lot younger than me, and I write with a lot of younger writers. And it's a really great combination, because I can bring some stability and some depth musically, and they bring a young, fresh, lyrically and melodically, and the combination is really kind of great, you know. It's the best of both worlds, and I don't know. I've just always been a person that just loves a good melody in a song. And I remember one time my wife and I were in a store, clothing store, and there was a 17-year-old clerk there, and I have a habit of humming. I just hum all the time. I'm always humming a tune, you know, when I'm walking around. And she looked at me, she says, "Wow, you hum really good." Yeah, I've had a lot of practice, you know. Guess I've always had a song in my heart, you know, somewhere along the way. I just always have just loved music. It's just in me, you know.
You are married to Sherry, and you have a daughter called Hannah. Are they... Sorry?
2 daughters. One from my first marriage, Noelle.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I was divorced early on in my life, and I was a father at 19 years old.
Wow.
Noelle was just here last week, because Hannah, my youngest daughter, is getting married in October. So
congratulations.
Yeah, I'm finally getting a son.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, and my oldest daughter Noelle was here helping Hannah pick out her wedding dress, so it was great to visit with her last week.
Wow. And is your family involved in worship?
My wife is on the worship team at church. Hannah's a real worshiper, but she's not really involved. And Noelle, my oldest daughter, has a great voice, but she lives 12 hours away, so she's not really involved either. I was just closer because I could get her on the worship team.
another story of Lenny LeBlanc, handcrafted furniture by Lenny LeBlanc. I mean, the first time I entered your website, and for our friends listening right now, it's www.lennyleblanc.com. I'll say that again, it's www.lennyleblanc.com. And when I got into your website and saw this idea of handcrafted furniture, I said, wow. And the first thing that came into my mind was Jesus was a carpenter himself. I said, wow, what a great idea. But I think you're doing that for many years now, right?
Yes, I started in my 20s, and I started just, when you have a passion for doing something like I did, you'll find a way to do it. I lived in an apartment and just a little concrete porch, and so I would build my things outside there, and I had just very few tools. I had a drill and a sander, I think. And so I would go to the millworks where they sold the lumber, and I would buy the pieces of lumber, and I would say, okay, I need it this thickness, I need it this width, and I need it this long. And then I would take the pieces home, and I would put my furniture together. And that's how I learned. And I would ask the old men there at the shop, I said, what does this tool do, and how do you do this? And that's how I learned, just by asking questions. And there wasn't YouTube then. You couldn't go online, but you had to ask questions and read books. And so it's just another form of art. It's just a different medium. Music is one form of art. Furniture building, handcrafting is another medium, another avenue, another stream of creativity. And
they both need creativity and imagination and patience.
And I love designing something, and at first my designs had to be very, very simple because I have very few tools, and now I've got a big shop, and I've got a lot of different tools, and so I can design things that are a little more complicated, and it's fun,
Oh, I'll come and visit you someday, and you'll show me these things. We'll put it on YouTube. You have to show the people what you're doing.
We'll build a birdhouse.
You said you've never been in Greece, right?
Right.
So, are you open to any invitations? Would you like to come to Greece? Do you have any plans?
No plans right now. I travel a lot internationally. I travel some alone with my band, and I travel some with Don Moen. I've been to just about every country in Asia. I've been to India, to Africa many times. I've been to the United Arab Emirates. I've been to Europe, only to Holland, though, so I would love to come to Greece. I've been in bloc countries, the former USSR. I've been to Kiev and in Ukraine and Belarus and Moscow and Latvia, different countries. So, yeah, I'm very open to come to Greece.
So, as GodRadio.gr, we would do the best we can to have you in Greece. We would love to have you in Greece, actually.
Great. I would love to come.
And I want to take this opportunity. You mentioned Don Moen and traveling with him. I had an interview with him last week. I don't know if you spoke with him lately.
Not in about 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. So I asked him actually to say some things about you because I know that you are very good and close friends, and you have worked with him throughout the years. And actually, I'd like to mention some things that he said about you, and then I will ask you to say some things about him.
Okay.
He said that you are one of his best friends, and you live only 1.5 hour away from his house. And he also said that if he could have you in every tour he does, he would have you with him. That you are a wonderful singer and songwriter, and as far as he's concerned, there is no better singer than you. You are a wonderful brother and always encouraging him. And he said he's pretty humbled that you would agree to go and sing backup for him and do that willingly. I mean, he was speaking about you, and I couldn't stop him. He loves you very much. And you had a concert with him in India and Abu Dhabi last January.
Yes.
And he said he's still a little upset with you because your flight, he said, was leaving that night from Abu Dhabi. And he said, Lenny, do not leave the stage before we finish singing. And he turned to look at you when he was singing God is Good All the Time, and he saw you packing up your guitar and leaving the stage without saying bye. He said that. So he said you owe him big time for that. And it's recorded if you want me to send it to you.
Great. Oh yeah, I've heard that. But I said, well, if I would miss that plane, I would rather be you upset with me than my wife be upset with me.
That's right.
I knew I was going to leave, but he made a big deal out of it, with the audience and stuff. It was funny. He said, "Where are you going? Where are you going?"
It sounded like you're having lots of fun when you're together.
Oh gosh, too much fun. Yeah, I tell you, Don Moen is like, he's such a true believer. I've never been around anyone like him that has the stature that he has worldwide, and is such a humble man, and has the favor of God wherever he goes. God has given him favor, to the nations.
Mm.
Everywhere we go, thousands of people come out to hear Don Moen and to be under his leadership and worship. And he has such a pure heart, and I just love being around him. He's one of my favorite people in the world. And I asked him years ago, I said, I would just love to come overseas with you. I would just sing background with you, because I knew I just wanted to be around him, and I wanted to learn from him. And I've learned so many things from him, just in the way he acts around people in different cultures, and just the way he carries himself, and how he's just he always wants to do what's right, and he's just, I can't say enough good things about him. He's one of my mentors, one of my closest friends, one of the most talented songwriters and singers, plays violin. I mean, he just got a beautiful family. His family, you can tell that he's a great dad. All his kids have turned out great.
Mm.
I just can't say enough about him.
Mm.
He's a great.
He also told us about the recording you did for the song "The Sacrifice of Praise," and he really got me into that booth when you were recording with his story, and he's so fun to listen. And I mean, to be honest, I didn't know the song before Don told me about it, and I went online and looked it up, and it's a really great song, and your voice is match so wonderfully together, and and I really love when you do this feeling with your voice, even if he was making fun of you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't find anything. I didn't find anything funny about the song. He said, "Go and listen to that song. It's really funny, but it's really great. I mean, you should do that more often."
Funny part was when we were recording it. The back and forth.
Well, I couldn't hear the funny part. I could just be in awe. I heard the song over and over again. I went home and played it to my wife. I said, "Listen to this song." I mean, yeah. I had no idea this song existed before.
Yeah.
But I think you two should do this more often.
Oh yeah, we do it when we go on tour together.
So
in the concert,
Excuse me?
He tells the same story he told you during the concert when we do it.
Oh wow, I can imagine. Don was in Cyprus and then in Athens in 2005.
Oh really? Wow.
And he said, I was never invited back, so I said we will do our best to have you back. And now that I found this friendship between you and him, I will do my best to have you both in Athens or in Greece, and we should do a tour in Greece, actually.
Man, that'd be awesome.
We will enjoy it. People in Greece love you.
Wow.
So, would it be okay if I ask you to sing something for us? Would you like to sing something for your fans in Greece and Cyprus?
Get a guitar.
It's the Macpherson guitar?
Yes, it's a McPherson.
Oh, you still have this one, right? You're not bored of it. I mean, I hope that you would want to change it and you could send it to me.
I've actually tried to give some of them away, but the company won't let me.
Oh. I would like a handcrafted guitar by Lenny LeBlanc.
You want me to play an old song or a new one?
It's up to you.
Okay.
You can start with an older song and you can go to one of your newest ones.
Let's do, I want to do a song. It's an older song, but it's not real well known, but it's one of my favorite songs. I'll do a little bit of that one, and then I'll do a new one, okay? This is called the Rainbow Song. If I was a rainbow, I'd show my colors for you. And if I was a songbird, I'd sing my song for you. And if you take the sun and the moon, take away the stars at night, your faithful word will always be my life. Beautiful, such a miracle, you would give heaven just for me. And all I want to do is fall more in love with you. This world doesn't own me anymore. One thing that I do know for sure, that if I was a rainbow, I'd show my colors for you. And if I was a songbird, I'd sing my song for you. And if you take the sun and the moon and take away the stars at night, your faithful word will always be my life.
Wow. Bravo.
I want to share a new song with you. It's called Unchained. And I'm really excited about this song. I'm in the process right now of doing a CD that's kind of a collection of all the songs that people would know, like that song, Rainbow Song, Above All, There's None Like You, We All Bow Down, I Believe. And then I'm including several new songs. And it's all going to be just guitar and voice.
Wow.
And maybe like a shaker, but very, very
acoustic
production. Because I do a lot of concerts with just my guitar or piano. I play piano as well, so they're acoustic concerts, I guess you might say. So I've always wanted to do a project like that, and I always get scared at the end and I chicken out, and I end up bringing the band in, and it's comfortable when you got a lot of musicians around you, because when it's just you, just your guitar, it's very exposed. Now,
No. We enjoy it. So
it's very raw, and you really hear the song the way it was written. So this is what I'm really excited about, and like I said, it's called Unchained. I was a captive till you set me free. I was an outcast, you accepted me. I was an island, you were a crashing wave. I was a lost soul, only you could save. Unchained, unchained, never gonna be the same. Unchained, unchained, forevermore, you unlock the prison doors. I was a desert till you watered me. I was a blind man till you made me see. I was a dark night, but you were the rising sun. I was a dead man, but you are the risen one. Unchained, unchained, never gonna be the same. Unchained, unchained, forevermore, you unlock the prison door. The heavens violently trembled above, the earth bowed and gave up the keys. Blood overcame sin and the grave, breaking the shackles of every slave. Unchained, unchained, never gonna be the same. Unchained, unchained, forevermore. Unchained, unchained, never gonna be the same. Unchained, unchained, forevermore, open up the prison door.
thank you so much, Lenny. I really enjoyed every moment of it. Really. When is this CD will be? When will this CD will be released?
It'll be released in the middle of October.
This year.
This year, yes.
Wow, wonderful. And have you decided the name, the title of the CD?
I think it's going to be Anthology, because it's a collection of songs through time.
Anthology.
Anthology, yeah.
So all you listeners of GodRadio.gr, go and get Anthology on October. Lenny LeBlanc, thank you so very much. I really had fun, and I hope we meet in Greece.
I hope so.
We'll be looking forward for next time we speak about that.
Sounds great.
We will keep in touch, okay? God bless you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.